Now back at the Gong family home, the discussions continue. Chun Myung voices the feelings that everyone shares but hadn't expressed to In-OK, which is that everyone has had to be careful about how they acted to prevent the woman from having an outburst during the whole year Yeon-do was away, and they can't stand this situation anymore. Well, despite it being true, In-OK decides to express her own feelings as well. After all, she's been in the position of staying silent and tolerating insults from her stepchildren for 15 years, so what is 1 year compared to all that time? In any case, by the end of this disastrous conversation, the woman decides to leave the family home and moves with her belongings to another place, the Gong's summer house. Meanwhile, Yoo Myung was at the cafe next to her company with Soo Jae-am, and since she urgently needed to go to the bathroom, she asked the owner of the cafe to quickly watch over the little girl. However, during this time, Dong-wook arrived at the cafe, and since we know that the woman is Soo Jae-am's biological mother, he was not pleased to see their interaction, especially since he had had to take care of the child all this time without any help. Nevertheless, Dong-wook kept himself in check so his daughter wouldn't suspect that the woman was her mother, and he merely took her out of the cafe. Soon after, Yoo Myung returned to take Soo Jae-am to the office, and the man went back to the cafe to retrieve the drinks that were left behind. Of course, the man took the opportunity to speak with the woman and made it very clear that she is not to come near Soo Jae-am, as Dong-wook had told his daughter her mother had already passed away. Later, everyone belonging to the Gong family gathers to discuss the crisis they are experiencing among themselves. Even the protagonist and Taekyung are involved in this discussion. Expecting Chonsik to come up with a solution, everyone in the room is surprised when the man announces that he will move away with his wife. Although Madam Moon makes a scene about this, Chonsik stands firm in his decision this time. The next day, as the main couple felt guilty about all this chaos, Yeon-do decided to make a surprise visit to In-ok's new home and, using the baby as an excuse, she managed to get into the residence. However, as expected, In-ok was quite harsh from the beginning of the protagonist's visit. In the next scene, we see Se-jin calling Bong-nim. A few days ago, the woman saw her father and the lady together, so, as the secretary of the Gong family believes everything revolves around her, she asked Bong-nim not even to dream of having a relationship with Jang-ho, because Se-jin won't let her pursue it further. Meanwhile, we move to Chonsik making a surprise visit to the doctor's office. The gentleman is there to apologize to Taekyung for all the times he turned a blind eye and let his family mistreat both his son and In-ok. And now that Taekyung is also dealing with a situation similar to Chonsik's, the doctor explains that it's okay because he now understands some of the actions his father took back then. Later, at Yeon-do's request, the rest of the Gong family also went to the summer house and, despite catching In-ok mistreating the protagonist, they all proceeded with their reason for being there, which was to apologize for all the hard times they put the woman through over the years. And while peace was being made, Yeon-do quietly slipped away to head home. Now that some conflicts were resolved, In-ok returned home and answered her son's calls. During the night, the lady reflected on everything Yeon-do went through. So the next day, she decided to go to the protagonist's family home to apologize to everyone. Meanwhile, Madam Moon was heading up to Taekyung's apartment when Junha arrived, and, angry because he was one of the biggest problems for her grandson, the lady started hitting him with her cane. I have to admit I loved that scene. Madam Moon went to the doctor's residence to apologize to him, as well as to Taekyung's mother. Without knowing if he could forgive her, the man simply asked her to make amends for all the wrongs by being a good person to Han-oh. And aware of the pain the lady feels over having had her first daughter taken from her, Taekyung promised to help her find the woman. In the next scene, we see the protagonist with Woo-hee, who is finally being discharged from the hospital. Taking advantage of things working out for Yeon-do, Woo-hee decided to reveal her secret, which was that the protagonist's uncle was her boyfriend and the man she deceived. Despite feeling for Dae-sang, Woo-hee was very kind to Yeon-do, so their friendship remained unchanged. Moving on to Soo-jayum, as her father told her not to return to that cafe, and the girl was craving watermelon juice, she decided to call the place and ask the owner for the recipe. The woman promptly sent everything to Soo-jayum via messages. At that moment, the girl noticed that the username was very similar to someone who commented on all her photos. Later, we see another very nice scene, where both families decided to surprise the main couple by hosting a celebratory dinner at Bongnim's restaurant. And the following day, the lovebirds finally registered their marriage. However, upon learning about this, Junha decided to register Hanul's paternity at the registry, as all he needed were the mother's details, making it quite simple to do. Afterwards, Junha went after Bongnim to take his daughter, as she was caring for the child so the couple could celebrate the marriage registration. As soon as Bongnim left Jang Ho's office, where she shared the conversation she had with Se-jin and that she wanted to quit school, Junha showed up. The man was about to snatch the baby from Bongnim's arms when her classmates and Madam Un began attacking him. In the end, everyone ended up at the police station, and the couple also had to go there, as Hanul was in the middle of all this chaos. To prevent the dispute from dragging on, the protagonist decided to go with Junha and test his paternity, as the man only pursued this situation not out of love for her or the baby, but because his pride was wounded. Obviously, Junha couldn't even change a diaper properly, so after a while, Yeondu left his apartment, making it clear that before he wanted to have contact with the child, he needed to prepare to be a father since he desired it so much. Later, Taekyung went with Yeondu to the Gong family home. During their visit, he received a call from the missing persons department. It turns out that the search conducted by the doctor and Madam Un was fruitful, but unfortunately, Strawberry passed away 20 years ago, which left the lady devastated. In the next scene, Dong-wook is deep in thought, and Yoo Myung, noticing this, questions her boyfriend. The man tries to change the subject several times, but as the conversation progresses, they end up talking about Soo-jayum's mother. When Yoo Myung asks if he has seen her recently, Dong-wook lies and says no. The next day, the Gong family realizes the issue with Junha is far from over when they receive a court summons regarding a request for sole custody. But now that they know the man's nature, some memories resurface, such as all the times Junha provoked Taekyung for no reason or when Ji Myung saw him causing a scene in the company hall to see Se-jin. It doesn't take long for the family to realize that the secretary was also involved in the man's plans. Meanwhile, Yeondu decided to arrange a meeting with Jang Ho after discovering why her mother quit school. And it was during this conversation that our protagonist learned everything. The first shock was realizing it was Jang Ho who saved her that time a scooter almost hit her and not Se-jin. But the worst discovery was that Junha is the secretary's ex-boyfriend. When Jang Ho remembered it was the man who pushed him at the wedding, he just wanted to warn Yeondu that Junha was dangerous. However, Jang Ho ended up revealing much more than that, and the protagonist finally discovered who Junha's mistress was back when they were together. Yeondu didn't even have time to process all the information because the president soon called her and Taekyung to his office, where the doctor's siblings were also present, along with Se-jin and Junha. Chonsik was already out of patience and immediately started questioning the two culprits, whose expressions alone were a dead giveaway. But as Junha also didn't hold back, the elder got heated and even slapped the man's face. In the end, the pair was escorted out of the company by security. In the next scene, Daesang made Woo-hee apologize to Chun Myung and Soo-jong for having deceived them before, which was the man's last request before the two parted ways forever. Meanwhile, Madam Un went to meet her granddaughter alongside Taekyung and Yeondu. After learning that her grandmother was looking for her mother, the woman requested to meet the lady, and for Madam Un, whose heart had been filled with sadness in recent days, this meeting was gratifying. Later, she finally told the family about her other daughter. Meanwhile, Yoo Myung called Dong-wook to her father's company to teach him how to play golf, and only then did they both realize they were related, which came as a shock to them. But not more than to Soo Jaeum, who at home, was rummaging through her father's things when she found a photo of Dongwook with a woman and realized that the cafe owner is her mother. And dear viewers, the twists don't stop there. We quickly move to Junha, irritated, going to meet someone who constantly calls him. Seeing him on the way, Se-jin decided to follow him, which did not please the man when he saw her. But the biggest surprise was for us viewers because the person the man went to meet is his sister, who is also Madam Eun's granddaughter, meaning Junha is also the lady's grandson and Taekyung's cousin. What did you think of these episodes? I hope you enjoyed the summary. Leave your suggestions in the comments and subscribe. If you liked the video, please like and share to help me out. Until next time.